Hi, and thanks for joining us for Rental Karma on Air. Rental Karma on Air is brought to you by Rental Karma, where good renters deserve good credit. Check it out at rentalkarma.com, and that's spelled KHARMA.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back again to another episode of Rental Karma on Air. If you haven't seen the new logo for the podcast, it's pretty cool. Wendy Massengale, hello. Thank you for the new art. It
Hello.
is getting compliments. It's really cool. It's like a radio tower, old school radio tower for us old folks, okay? And it looks cool. Got the Lotus right there. It's like holding the thing up. It's like that's like what blows out the signal. It's like really cool. So
Coming at you through the airwaves.
yeah, when you do the video overlay of this, make sure you put a share a version of that with the folks so that everybody can see it. It's pretty cool.
Oh, for
All
sure.
right, so we get proud about the little things around here. So today, folks, it's high noon on a Friday. Well, in some places that means crack open a beer. Depends, what's going on. But we got a financial showdown going on. Okay, we're going to be talking about the newest kid in town. This kid, Frankie. Most kids named
Frankie
Frankie
Fintech.
live on this. They live at the south side of Boston, and you don't cross them. Okay, Frankie Fintech from the south from Southie. He's from Southie. Okay, he's new, he's sleek, and he's all the rage in Southie. What did he do? Get himself a girlfriend over there at Cambridge, at Harvard Square.
So we could get a logger.
Yeah. Well, he is up against this guy named Big Bank Bill. Or you could just insert name of any of the big banks. Okay? Those guys been around pretty much at the beginning of our economy. Like, we're not talking 10 years, we're talking 200. There's been a bank in America. I'm sure the first bank is at least 200 years old. But this new guy, Frankie, from Southie, and went to MIT because that's where the kids that start Fintechs go to school. Did you know that? A lot of them go to MIT. They're pretty smart. Okay. Who's going to win at the end of the day? So what is a Fintech? Wendy.
Well, pretty much. Fintech is, the whole word means financial technology. And all it is technology that improves either or automates like a financial service or a thing. So it's not like an actual bank. It's just technology. It's like cryptocurrency, banking, financial products, investment. It's just kind of an umbrella term for all of those things.
Yeah. When you hear their marketing message on TV, there's always the last thing they say at the end that they usually say quick or they put in fine print. It's like, Chime is not a bank. We're a technology company. Banking services are provided by,
Blah, 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 blah.
yeah, which is actually another bank, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just that those other banks have realized that they can jump in and grow with these new services that are out there. So I don't have I'm still a credit union guy. So I haven't experienced using the online banks, but I can tell you this, I've recommended them a lot to people because I think one of the biggest things here that the problem they're solving is getting people away from the issue of this thing called check systems, which is a blacklist for checking accounts, right? So what is this blacklist, you say? If you've ever been to, if you ever walked into a mainstream bank or even a credit union and you wanted to open up a new checking account and you got denied, okay? It wasn't because they pulled your credit and your credit score was bad. They don't even look at your credit for a checking account, okay? There's this third system, it's called check systems, that if you have ever defaulted on a checking account with any of the other banks, they all share in this big database called check systems. It's actually, this company was founded by the big banks. Now it's run by another company, I think called FIS Global. They bought it. but it does this. The function is the same, which is if you made the blacklist and you want a new account, they're going to check, and if you were on that list, declined for the new checking account, right? So what has caused 30 plus million Americans to run into the front door of Chime Bank, Dave, Vero, and the others that are out there is the fact that they were kicked out of the other system
Mm-hmm.
and they are not being let back in. Okay.
For at
Um,
least 5 years.
yeah, it was a long time, and the banks and their policies and the way they did stuff, it was stuck. And why did most of those accounts get closed in the first place? Somebody got overdraft fees of $100, 3 transactions on their checking account that should have just been declined, but instead they were approved, and they just stocked you with a $35 fee for each one.
Mm-hmm.
And then the paycheck came around and rent came around, and you realized you couldn't afford it, or these fees just sucked, you know, the last few dollars out of your checking account for the month, and you couldn't let your paycheck go in there on direct deposit and get feed out of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
you're gone. So your bank has been the grocery store cashier's check counter, money orders, and all these other things for a long time. And that's a predatory sucking fees out of you. And these online banks have said that sucks. And there's so many people that are underbanked or unbanked in this country that they had a rush of people coming to them for their services.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard a lot of great things, but there is some pros and cons to this, you say, Wendy. And why don't you share? I shared a couple of the pros, just of the getting away from
Mm-hmm.
uh, the blacklist, right? But what else? What else? What else? When your research and experience in setting up this account, what do you see?
I mean, and I'll be honest, I just kind of went ahead and set myself up one of these accounts earlier this
Hmm.
week. I'm still waiting for my debit card to come in the mail, but it didn't take very long. I want to say it took like 5 or so minutes. And one thing I really liked about it was it was very easy to sign up and things like that. One thing that fintech banks do is they provide accessibility and functionality for all kinds of people. It's very like animated and pretty, and it looks nice. It's not scary and financial. Like when you think of financial things, you think of like,
Complicated
yeah,
fear.
like my Robin Hood that I use to like trade stocks on. I'm like, I don't know what this means. Going to buy that one.
Yeah.
But whenever you pull up the banking app, it just looks nice and fresh and happy and everything. But one of the things I liked about that neobank, specifically Chime, is yes, they don't have ATMs, but you can use like thousands and thousands of ATMs everywhere. So that's a big thing. Like you can use any ATM. That's great.
Yeah,
Um,
they have a network. It's like 50,000 you can use.
exactly. And like, and if say I need to deposit cash, well, guess what's on the corner? Walgreens. I can use Walgreens as a deposit location if that ATM doesn't take cash. So that's really cool.
Yeah, that was one
Um,
of the coolest ones. I didn't
yeah.
know until not too long ago, and I'm like, that's pretty smart.
Yeah, because there's a Walgreens like everywhere. So it's like
Yeah.
if I need to go transfer or do anything like that, it's like I may not have a bank and but I can get some milk and deposit my check at the exact same time. So that'll save me a trip. But yeah, no, I mean it's really that is one thing that people really like about that is they now do offer those options and that you can deposit cash and things like that.
Yep.
Um, but also like real overall, they state no fees. They state no minimum balance. Like currently, I did not even put a single dollar in my bank or my Chime bank account, but I have an account now, so there was no minimum balance. And then now that people, and also it doesn't care about check systems. Doesn't give two flips about it.
Yeah.
So if you are on the checking blacklist, you can go in, or you can open up that account. Now you won't be paying for check cashing fees or all those other little payday loan fees, any of those predatory lending products that just keep charging you between like 300 to 1,000% APR just to
Hmm.
cash that check. You're no longer having to do that. And then, so there's no, so you're not paying for those things. So you're going to be saving yourself a lot of money and time too. So those are some pretty big pros about it. And also, they do take direct deposit. That's really
Yep.
cool. So just like any other bank.
Yeah, that's super cool. The no fee overdraft I think is huge because they give you up to $200,
Hmm.
no fee, no NSF, nothing there. If you have to have your direct deposit set up. That's part of the gig because they know your paycheck's coming in and you're going to be fine.
Hmm.
But they're just not going to fee you to death for it. And that if you look at the stats from like the payday loan industry, your average one is less than $200. So what they've done is literally they're taking a dagger to the payday loan stores. I've even
Hmm.
had calls in the last few months. One is Newport News, Virginia, with someone in the housing authority there that said 3 payday loan stores in their community had closed in the last 6 months.
So wonderful.
And it's all because of that. And it's like, I mean, I can't say all, but I'm sure hugely because of that, especially in certain areas where, you know, with 20 plus million users for Chime and 10 more for the other ones,
Oh
that's a
yeah.
lot of people in a lot of places that are like not walking into those phones anymore, which is awesome
Yeah,
because
because that's the only way to
it,
shut them down.
yeah, it really serves the purpose for the whole damn thing. And
Yeah.
you think about too why one of the other reasons I think they've been able to be more successful. Banks are not shy at spending money on marketing. You ever get flyers in the mail that say from Chase,
Hmm.
$600 if you open a new checking account? How many of those pieces of mail have they sent? They're easily going to spend over $1,000 to acquire one customer for a checking account.
Hmm.
I think they got too much money to spend for one. And two, if you think about it, what is it replacing? When you said Walgreens, Wendy,
Hmm.
what percentage of Walgreens are on a corner lot?
Say 100%.
Yeah, almost every one at a stoplight, and there's a way in on each side, right?
The
And
only caveat was the one in Westtown Mall in Knoxville forever ago, and I was like, "There's a drugstore in the mall," but that was
uh,
the only Walgreens I've not seen on a corner. But also CVS, but that's a whole
yeah,
other game.
that's weird. I don't know whether to do all that stuff, but the thing that we have seen for years and years also is what's a lot of times the other corners,
Hmm.
Chase, Wells Fargo, right? That building's not cheap. The people inside of that building are not cheap. And if you think about a branch, I went into my Navy Federal Credit Union I hadn't been in one for over a year, Wendy,
Hmm.
and I was amazed at how many cars were in the parking lot. But only when I went to the teller, they were in there sitting down at the desk, I guess, applying for car loans and things like that. But I was the only one in the teller line at like 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. Yeah,
Oh wow.
and I'm like, and there's like 4 tellers up there, and I'm like, okay. Start adding it up. You look around, there's like 8 people employed, and the building, right?
Hmm.
Okay, Wells Fargo, how many locations do they have? 1,000? I don't know. Now you take that huge expense of overhead and you crunch it down into no physical locations, and you built technology that doesn't require much in the way of tech support, and you don't have to have people standing in a window waiting to cash a check or whatever. You're talking billions in savings, right?
That sounds like 80% of like an operating business expense that is just like
Oh, yeah,
gone.
yeah.
No
So
labor.
so that's out the window, and they built in, their tech company, and he's thinking, I don't know how many employees they have. I'm probably say 500 maybe, but compare that. How many? Here's to be the great ratio: employees to customer ratio. I
Yeah, that's a
bet
good
you,
one.
I bet you that the neobanks have got them beat by five, probably tenfold. It's a big number, I'm telling you. But that's another part of why this has become so successful. And You know, people. The point is people don't even want to walk into the branches. The technology of having your app takes care of it.
Okay, so there are 22.9 million customers of Chime
Okay,
and 1,200 employees.
so that's how many customers per. That's 20 million divided by 1,200. Get the calculators out and
Yo, no math in my head, oh.
figure this. All right, 20 million. We'll divide it by 1,200 ish. 16,600 employees. Sorry, customers per employee. And if you go ask how many customers does Wells Fargo have and how many employees, I'm going to guess that this ratio is way down the line to probably like 2,000 customers per employee.
Well, and then also, I don't know if you heard in the news a couple days ago, but Wells Fargo slashed like 15,000 employees due to
Oh yeah,
redundancies over mouse
yeah,
jigglers. So they're cutting their own, like they're cutting their staff
yeah,
pretty thick, and it's like what's going on down there, guys? What's going on?
yeah.
Just deleting redundancies, or you hurting for cash?
Yeah, well, customers are walking out and there's nothing, nobody's walking in to replace them. You know.
Oh,
At the end of the day, great for consumers, great for the
yeah.
underbanked. There are a few things to look out for. Wendy pointed that out in her research. Um, Wendy, do you want to just public service announcement? Make sure you know
Yeah.
kick the
And just
tires.
because, oh yeah, because I mean, realistically, like, yes, with there is a little bit of risk with every new product while it comes out. You know, like you have to be kind of mindful and cautious as to like what you're signing up for, what you're reading. The Now I know it's governmental, but the Government Accountability Office, which they pretty much look over a lot of the businesses and uh, things that are going on, like different business practices, and
Mhm.
just to kind of give their opinion of it. And overall, they said fintechs, they're great. And the main reason why they said that they were great is because they service the underbanked or the unbanked. And so, which are the people who have access to either no banking products or the bank that they use doesn't have products that they need. And so they're still forced to go to predatory lenders and things like that.
Oh, like you
And
did at the beginning of the show.
exactly, because I technically, even though I've been with the same bank forever, I'm I'm underbanked because they didn't offer the product that I needed.
Yeah,
So now I've had to switch to a fintech. So so I'll may have to update this later on. I'll let y'all know how it goes. But
yeah,
realistically, the government office said overall they're great. They're great. They bridge gaps. They help give people access who need it, who truly need it, because the people who are spending the most money on those dang predatory lending products are the people who can't afford it the most.
yeah.
So, but now the caution that the Government Accountability Office did want to kind of let everybody know is, you know, these products that they offer, like getting paid early and things like that, they're not technically credit, so they don't have to disclose fees or things like that. So just if you are using products, especially new financial products, make sure you just read just read, make sure what you're paying for, just see what
Yeah,
fees are, things like that.
very fair. I looked when you say that, I have looked at some of the different features of the different neobanks or the online banks. Um, and there, some will charge a fee for something,
Mhm.
and then another one might not. So like they're not all the same.
Yeah.
They one might have one different feature than another, like you're saying, but also some might charge a feature or something, or they might, like if you ever done a cash out. Here's a good example.
Mhm.
Cash App is a fintech.
Mhm.
You ever click the cash out button and then it pops
Mhm.
up and says, "Do you want it instantly for $7.95, or do you click the button that says wait 2 days?"
Yeah.
That's a great example right there of the hidden one that
Mhm.
if you don't do the math on it, maybe it's not necessarily worth it. But at the same time, it's a far cry from the $35 NSF fees that we were at with the banks.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
then also another couple things that have been highlighted when it comes to some of these fintech banks is some of the credit cards don't act like traditional credit cards. And specifically when it comes to credit building cards or secured credit
Yep.
cards. So like for example with the Chime card, you may not be able to rent a car or a hotel room. So you'll have to eventually get to the point where you can have a real standard credit card for something like that. So that is something to keep in mind. Also, if you
Yep.
don't have internet access, you may not have access to those products, but you know, luckily internet access is either becoming free or more cheaply available in other areas. So that's helping bridge that gap. So
Yeah.
that issue is going
But
away as well.
but
But over,
if you have your debit card when you get it,
mhm,
internet access isn't an issue. You can still go to the gas station and buy your gas. You're just saying that in terms of transferring funds on your phone,
mhm.
or that would require access to the internet, obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's a very very small caveat. And then then the only other thing was the secured credit cards like Chime and things like that. They don't affect the utilization on your credit report when it comes to your credit
Yep.
utilization, which is small potatoes when it comes
Which
to like
just
the actual big issue.
yeah.
But
Which to
so
remind
that's
folks is still a very important piece of your credit. Okay.
30%.
30%. I've taken this to a different place in terms of explaining it for people because you see credit scores on 350 to 850 scale. Nobody here listening has ever had any scale like that in a class or a test in high school. It was always 0 to 100.
Hmm.
That's what our credit score should be, because then they put in there that your payment history is 99% and you feel good about it. You don't
Hmm.
realize that that's actually like you had a recent really bad event happen,
Hmm.
you know, because what triggers that's a 30-day late. But if when it comes to your score, and when you just said it's 30%, and all this means is if you do not have a credit card, it is like going to high school and taking a test that's worth 100 points and skipping the first 30% of the questions. And if you ace everything else, you can get a 70.
Yep.
That's a C minus, folks. Okay. And a lot of people go, I don't want a credit card. Don't trust myself. I don't want to go into debt. Understood.
Mhm.
You want to go on a vacation and rent a car and drive across Texas? Got to have a credit card to rent the car, like she
Yeah.
says. Okay. So that one reason is that. The other one is you're in an emergency and you need to rent a car because yours broke down and you can't get to work. There's another great example of one that would be very helpful. But at the same time, the 30% rule is incredibly important because all you need to do is have a card, put a streaming service on it, a recurring thing, put it on auto pay, and stick it in the glove box for that emergency if you need it or whatever.
Hmm.
And now you got your 30%,
Yep.
and your score is
Set it and forget
going
it.
up quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about that part of it, and then it's kind of done. So that does the next bridge past fintechs not really serving as a credit card for utilization.
Mhm.
You got to go in and do that. But we tell people to take their steps, right, to get to it.
Yeah. I mean, and really, most people are using these fintechs for like checking access. So, like, when it comes to like the pros and cons of, if that's what they're trying to get for a checking account, then, that's not too, it's not even barely an issue. If they're just trying to get a checking account, then
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. Well, um, I don't see it slowing down any.
Mhm.
I've seen some of the banks try showing that they're going to be friendlier.
Mhm.
Is about all they're not coming out with any like grandiose technology that I've seen. You know, nothing that's any different than they have in their apps or anything right now. I think it's just saying that they're coming out trying to say, "Oops, we were taking advantage of the folks for a little too long, and this group of people out in Silicon Valley and other places took advantage of that and ran with it, and they've stolen
Mhm.
40 million customers from us."
Gosh. I mean, serves you right. People are getting
Yes.
smarter, so we're like, wait a
Yeah.
second. I've got a calculator in my pocket, like the teacher said I would not have when I was in school, but I have one now, and I can do my math, and I can tell that you're screwing me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's great. We now we know,
Yeah. We don't
and
need to
knowledge
do
is
long.
power.
Yeah, exactly, man. Holy cow. Yeah. So if you need it, just just compare. Go and look at every time you go make a decision like this. Don't always have to take the first one. Go compare the ones and write down a little list of the three most important things to you. Right?
Mhm.
No overdraft fee. No whatever. I want whatever the feature is. See which ones have them. Read the reviews and make sure that there's not a hidden fee somewhere, like I talked about with the Cash App instant. Little that button doesn't matter if you're never going to use it. And if you
Yeah.
are, just be realizing you're going to pay a small fee for something. But I have not seen anything with a big fee for any of them. And
Mm-mm.
it's because, like I said, that cost savings from all that overhead is huge. And they're doing this in a different kind of business model than the other folks have done for a long time. So
Overall, I think old Frankie Fintech is going to be the winner of this showdown. So,
sorry, Bill.
sorry, Bill.
Bill, your
Time to hit the old
your
dusty trail.
your time has come, Buffalo Bill. That's about when they first started a bank back in his days.
Oh
Well, good.
man.
It's good to see. It's great to see the progress, and um, we wish you and your family the best in making your decisions. And if you have any stories you want to share, remember a couple of things here as we close up this Friday high noon at the OK
I mean,
Corral. Was that
yeah.
there? Yeah, yeah. Oh, it is the OK Corral. Buffalo Bill. That Buffalo Bill thing came out without me even thinking.
And I think of Buffalo.
Subliminally, you said high. You said that high noon, and then the
Hmm.
buffalo. Yeah.
I think of Buffalo Bill, and I think of it puts the lotion in the basket, but hell. But yeah, no. And it's good to see that these products are helping. It's like things are swaying to help the little guy. They're not helping the big guy right now. Like these things are made specifically to help the little guy. So it's really exciting that there's been lots of technological advancements in this field. I'm excited to see what's like
Yeah.
going to be coming along. But yeah, no, if you guys have any experiences with, using these neon banks, neo banks, goods, bads, uglies, everything in between, send
Yeah.
Colin a voice note. Send us
Yep.
an email. His email address is going to be below. So just send that to us. We would love to hear it. And so what we'll do is we will donate one membership of Total Access and Impact free rent reporting to somebody in a housing authority to help them get out of the housing authority and move on. And so it's a little thing that we like to do. So if you leave us a voice note, that's going to provide somebody with that membership for free on your behalf. And so just please send those in. We love to hear them.
Yeah. Yeah. Sharing your stories. Stories are important because it's not a 2-second, 2-minute or 2-sentence review
Mm-hmm.
on a site that you may not. But when you hear somebody's pain or success or joy from it, it's so much more real and impactful. And it's just it's great because you're sharing your story. Is either going to keep someone else from hitting a pitfall,
Mm-hmm.
or it's going to help many others get out of the bucket and reach some prosperity. So very cool. Everyone, have a great weekend. We're gonna play some music for you now. Wendy's getting out her banjo. She's playing an air banjo. And
Air
those of you who don't
banjo.
know, back in the day, there was a thing called air bands, which is you'd hold the instrument and pretend you were playing it, but they just played the music so loud over you that it made you feel like you were the rock star even though you couldn't play.
I know I'm a rock star, so it's okay. I don't need nobody to tell me.
Did you ever see an air band? Did you ever? You're not old enough, are you?
Um, no, I didn't ever see the airband. Of course, I mean, when I was little, I used to lip sync to Kokomo on the
Yeah.
hearth.
No,
So,
we
I
had him
mean,
at the skating rink. We do it at the skating rink on Friday nights down in Dayton, right down the road. And there'd be like, I was in Van Halen. I was actually the drummer for Van Halen.
but wait, you have both of your arms though, right?
That's
Wait,
not the,
oh, is that
different
that,
band.
that was
That's
a different
Def
band?
Leppard. That's
That was
Def
Def
Leppard.
Leppard.
Yeah, the one-armed drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, he could still rock though.
He
But
did, and he did to make up for it. He actually played two bass. He had four basses and two sets of pedals. So he had to make up for it. He had four.
that's so cool. So like two double basses.
I think so. Yeah.
That's
sure
so
he
cool.
I'm sure he really did it.
All right, cool. Well, see y'all next time.
See ya.